Colonel Potter, sir, my last wish is to be buried in my mother's wedding gown.
I've seen these Dodgers for 40 years, all the tricks. Dismissed. She said I had an unhappy love affair. So I said, was it one of my doctors? She said, no, it was your priest.
What would make a star abandon one of the most beloved shows in TV history? MASH wasn't just a hit, it was a cultural juggernaut. But behind the humor and heroics were untold stories of burnout, backstage battles, and painful personal choices. Why did some of its biggest stars walk away at the height of fame? In this video, we uncover the real reasons they left and how those exits changed the show forever. Stick around, because the truth might just surprise you. MASH Asterisk wasn't just a sitcom. It was a phenomenon. A show that dared to mix war with humor, heartbreak with hope, and gave audiences a raw look at the absurdity of battle through the lives of those who lived it. But as the series evolved, so did the people behind it. And some of the most beloved characters vanished, without warning, with controversy, or with an emotional farewell that still echoes through time. One of the first to leave was McLean Stevenson, who played the lovable Lieutenant Colonel Henry Blake. Blake was the heart of the early show, good-natured, frazzled, a bit clueless, but always well-meaning. Stevenson's performance made Henry Blake more than a comic relief figure. He was a symbol of humanity amidst chaos. But McLean wasn't satisfied. As Alan Alda's Hawkeye Pierce became the focus of the show, McLean felt increasingly sidelined. He wanted to be the leading man, not just the genial commander in the background. Fueled by ambition and dreams of headlining his own series, he made the bold decision to leave MASH after the third season. What happened next shocked the nation. In the Season 3 finale, Henry Blake receives discharge orders and prepares to go home. There's joy, tears, hugs, a classic sitcom send-off. But in the final scene, Radar walks into the operating room, removes his cap, and quietly says, "Lieutenant Colonel Henry Blake's plane was shot down." There were no survivors. The silence that followed was deafening. No music, no laugh track, just stunned faces. It was one of the most groundbreaking moments in television history. A comedy daring to tell the brutal truth about war. Off-screen, McLean quickly realized the grass wasn't greener. His follow-up series, The McLean Stevenson Show and Hello, Larry, both failed. Years later, he admitted, "I made the mistake of thinking people loved McLean Stevenson, but they loved Henry Blake." It was a painful lesson in how tightly characters and actors can become intertwined. Next came Wayne Rogers, the charming and clever trapper John McIntyre, Hawkeye's partner in comedy and mischief. Rogers and Alda shared incredible chemistry that carried the show through its early seasons. But behind the scenes, Wayne grew frustrated. He believed MASH was supposed to be an ensemble show. As Hawkeye took center stage, Trapper John became more of a sidekick than a co-lead. And unlike most actors, Rogers hadn't even signed a formal contract. He was working on a handshake agreement. So when he decided to leave after Season 3, he didn't need to give notice or negotiate. He just walked away. There was no farewell scene, no send-off, no party. Just a quiet exit that left fans confused and disappointed. Despite the lack of closure, Wayne thrived. He acted in various shows, but more notably, became a successful investor and financial commentator. He built a fortune and left behind a legacy not just as an actor, but as a savvy businessman. When he passed away in 2015, his friends, including Alan Alda, remembered him as one of the smartest, most grounded people they'd ever known. Then there was Gary Berghoff, who played Radar O'Reilly, the soul of the 4077. With his soft voice, wide eyes, and uncanny ability to hear helicopters before anyone else, Radar was innocence personified in a world torn apart by war. Berghoff was the only actor from the original film to reprise his role in the series, and he made Radar into a character the audience truly loved. But behind the scenes, Gary struggled. The grueling filming schedule, combined with his battles with anxiety and depression, took a heavy toll. He was also dealing with the pain of being away from his daughter. By season 7, he was emotionally exhausted. Even after producers reduced his workload, it wasn't enough. He finally decided to leave. But unlike Wayne Rogers, Radar was given the farewell he deserved. In a powerful 2-part episode, Radar returns to the camp only to find everything in disarray. He tries to fix it all, as always, but ultimately chooses to go home to care for his family. The final shot, Radar walking into the Korean night, leaving his teddy bear behind, is one of the most heart-wrenching moments in the series. After MASH, Berghoff largely stepped away from acting. He focused on painting, wildlife conservation, and inventing, even earning patents for fishing equipment. He later said he left to rebuild his life and be present for his loved ones. A decision many fans deeply respected. Larry Linville, who portrayed the pompous, rule-obsessed Major Frank Burns, was another pivotal figure in MASH's early years. Burns was the character audiences loved to hate, a bumbling antagonist whose moral rigidity clashed with the rebellious doctors around him. Linville's portrayal was both hilarious and cringe-inducing, creating tension and comic relief in equal measure. But as the show matured, Frank Burns didn't. His character remained flat, while others evolved. Linville, a classically trained actor, felt he'd taken the role as far as it could go. After 5 seasons, he left voluntarily, not out of anger, but out of a desire for artistic growth. He didn't want to be typecast. He wanted more. Though he never found another role as prominent as Frank Burns, Linville remained active in film and television. He passed away in 2000, but his performance remains a masterclass in creating a truly unforgettable TV villain. To fill the void left by Linville's exit, the show introduced Major Charles Emerson Winchester III, played by David Ogden Stiers. Winchester was Frank Burns's polar opposite, cultured, brilliant, and arrogant, but also deeply human. At first, Winchester seemed insufferable, but slowly, his walls came down. His character revealed layers of vulnerability, ethics, and a quiet sense of honor. Stiers stayed with the show until its final episode. He declined to appear in any spin-offs, feeling Winchester's story had reached its natural conclusion. After MASH, Stiers voiced numerous beloved Disney characters and became a respected figure in the industry. He came out as gay in 2009, later explaining he had waited out of concern it might impact his career. When he passed away in 2018, tributes poured in. His portrayal of Winchester brought a level of emotional complexity that helped redefine the show's legacy. And finally, there was the one who stayed, Loretta Swit, as Major Margaret Hot Lips Houlihan. Initially introduced as a rigid, no-nonsense figure, and often the butt of jokes, Margaret evolved into one of the most complex, respected characters on television. Swit refused to let Margaret be a stereotype. Over time, she transformed her into a strong, compassionate, intelligent leader. A woman navigating a man's world with dignity and strength. She stayed with MASH for all 11 seasons and was one of the few to appear in both the pilot and the finale. While many male co-stars departed for various reasons, Swit held firm, giving the series a much-needed balance of heart, power, and perspective. Thanks to her, Margaret Houlihan became a trailblazer, one of the earliest fully realized female characters in TV drama. Throughout its run, MASH was never just about the war. It was about people, about resilience, about how humor can be a lifeline, and how even the strongest among us need to walk away sometimes. Each departure left a mark, on the show, on the audience, and on the legacy of television itself. Some actors left for fame, some for family, some for freedom. But in every case, their exits told a story every bit as powerful as the ones MASH brought to life on screen. Because in the end, MASH wasn't just television, it was a reflection of life itself, raw, emotional, and unforgettable. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful deep dives into the shows and stars that shaped pop culture. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.